Hey there. A couple of topics I want to talk about. Uh, I feel like one is a little bit more important than the other, but both topics might be equally important. The first topic I'm going to talk about is how important discernment is going to be. Now, I hear a lot of people say you have to have discernment. Most people don't have discernment like that. Well, I'll say it like this. Let me say it like this. I do believe most people do have discernment. It's just that a lot of people are more controlled by their emotions. I feel like a lot of people, and this is not a judgment because I feel this is something that we all have to work on. So this is not a judgment. It's just, I don't think many people have a good, decent, healthy level of discernment. And that's distinguishing what's real, what's not, what's truth, what's a lie, and all that stuff. What's good and what's bad for you. If something is good, things like that. Let me for the people who, because I can't assume that everybody know what I'm talking about when I say the word discernment. Most people know what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to make assumptions that everybody know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to read the definition exactly how it was stated. Okay? The ability to judge well. So like a judge, like a good judge of character, like you're a good judge of character. And when you are, let me tell you something about discernment. When you have very good discernment, you don't give people the benefit of the doubt. That's the thing about it. People say, I just wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. No. Once you have discernment, I'm talking to myself too. See, I'm not the kind of person that talks at the audience. A lot of people, I notice just on social media, all together, I don't care if it's just television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I notice that a lot of people, when they are the ones speaking, it's almost like this thing of worship me, and they feel like they are above the people who are listening, but you don't know who the heck is listening, so you can't think that what you're saying is above everybody's head when you don't know who's listening. And I notice this with a lot of people just in general, that they think that what they're saying could be good, but you never know who's listening to you. Elon Musk might be listening to you. Bill Gates might be listening to you. Don't think that they are beyond listening to folks on YouTube, because a lot of this stuff they come out with, I can tell that some of them been listening to folks on YouTube. These movies that come out with Tyler Perry and whoever, all these TV shows, I can tell they've been listening to folks on YouTube. These people are not above listening to people on YouTube. So that's it. I don't want to go too far into that because I want to get into it. So, in Christian context, what is discernment? It's a perception in the absence of judgment, with a view to obtaining spiritual guidance and understanding. Without providing for a time of healing and discernment, there will be no. This is something used in a sentence, right? I'm reading something that's used in a sentence. Without providing for a time of healing and discernment, there will be no hope of living through the present moment without a shattering of our common life. Merriam-Webster, discernment, definition and meaning. The quality of being able to grasp and comprehend what is obscure, skill in discerning, an act of perceiving or discerning something. What are some examples of discernment? If you figure out the themes of a confusing movie, for example, you're using discernment. Okay. The noun discernment describes a wise way of judging between things, or a particularly perceptive, or a particularly perceptive way of seeing things. If you can understand something that's somewhat hidden or obscure. Okay. But anyway, I just wanted to, now this is, what is God's gift of discernment? It means to understand or know something through the power of the Spirit. Now that is the discernment that I'm more wanting to get. And the reason why, because I've been feeling strongly that discernment is going to be so important at this time, because like I was listening to I'm bringing up Themis and Thoth again. If you haven't heard of him, the way you spell it is Themis, Themis and Thoth, Thoth. And I think it was a few days ago, but he did a live with Cynthia G, and they was commenting on Nick Cannon and Cam Newton, their interview with this psychologist named Dr. Bryant. And they were talking about trusted people. Like, you can't, oh yeah, Cynthia has said this many a times, like, you can't really vet anybody, because if you vet somebody according to whatever your standards are, well, a person who knows how to fake it, if that's all you looking at, then they know how to meet all your standards and be a liar. So vetting, you can't just vet somebody, because it's vetting. People talk about vetting all the time, but you can't just vet somebody. Now, if you want somebody to say, I want him to have this much money, I want him to have this degrees, yeah, you can look him up online, look up his information. You can hire a private investigator to look him up or whatever, to see who he is, if he is who he say he is, if he's making the money he say he making. You can check on his credit. You can do all of that. But as far as that person's character, if they're crazy, maybe you never know. Maybe nobody's ever spoken out about that person before. So they come out as being the sweetest person in the world. And let me tell you something. Many of the people that I have met just in my lifetime, in this life, that everybody seemed to love, those are some of the most wicked people. And everybody loves them. And when one person says something is not right about that person, they're the ones that's a hater. They're crazy, because people like to go along with popularity. See, people like to follow other people. People don't want to save themselves. Let me tell you something. Why people always follow popular people, and then when you say something about a popular person and you just telling the truth, you hate it. Everybody hates you. They cancel you. Why is that? Because people keep looking for a God figure. People keep looking for a savior. People keep looking for a Messiah. When you can't talk about Beyonce to this beehive, they will kill you. I don't think the energy of the beehive is what it used to be. I think Beyonce is starting to lose her star power. I'm not sure if she really has star power, because star power is something that you're born with. I'm not sure what Beyonce was born with, because when you're born with something, you shouldn't have to take other people's energy. And allegedly, because I don't know this for sure, so I can't accuse it, but allegedly, from what other people's accounts have been, she takes a lot of people's energy. And specifically, I'm going to say a specific, like when I was listening to Tasha, I was looking at Tasha K, but Tasha K wasn't the one hosting her show. It was Bondi Blue. And Bondi Blue said when she went to that, I think it was the Renaissance tour, the concert, she said she had to sleep for about 3 days, and she felt like Beyonce done pulled all the energy off their audience. See, when you have real star power, you really shouldn't have to do that. So, but what the point I'm making is, people like to follow popularity, and you cannot go against the grain when it comes to somebody who's really popular. You can't tell them the truth, right? But for the most part, you get a gut feeling of what's right and what's not. That's what I was saying. Some of the most popular people could be, and I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of times, some of the most popular, charismatic people who have great communication and social skills, just some of them, or it could be many of them, they could be the most evil, and you never know. So when it comes to vetting, it's hard to vet that part. You'll have to have a level of discernment. Now, if you want to vet if he works actually where he works, if he got the money he says he have, you can look up his records and you can look up his credit score, and you can just do all this information on who he is. You can do that part. But as far as if somebody's crazy, unless you've heard other people speak out on that person, you don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. that requires discernment, because they could put on a they can fake for like maybe 5 years and make it seem like you don't met the person that you're supposed to be with, and you say, well, God put us together because of the emotion that you have, and people will say it's God that did it. Sometimes God does do it, but not all the time. People speaking with their emotions, and they put it on God. This is why I don't say much about God. I'm not a Christian, because I feel like that's more man-made. But even when it comes to things, I don't put nothing on God. I don't put nothing on, I don't even say spirit too much unless I'm 100% confident in it. Because a lot of people keep saying what God told me, and people got to stop doing that, because when they do that, they are trying to control somebody else's mind, saying, God told me to tell you to do this. Like, no, see, you need to quit that. Did God really tell you to do that? Because you are misleading people if that's a lie. You're misleading people. Or even if it's not a lie and they just really felt like that because of their emotions, something, that's still, you shouldn't be using God. But yeah. But yeah, so that's why I say discernment is important to have. Because you really can't vet anybody without having discernment. And then when you have discernment, you have to, I feel like that gut feeling that you get, I feel like that's discernment. A lot of times when you meet somebody, you get this strange feeling about them right off. And for me, I'm going to say that I've had discernment a very long time. And a lot of times we can tell, we know that something is off about somebody, but we continue to be around them and we know they're off. But it's not because, but we've already known that it was something about them that just probably wasn't right. See, now when I've had, because sometimes we are around people like that. Folks like that, I just don't put my trust in. I don't want to get too close to them. Because you have different types of relationships with different people that you meet. But it doesn't mean that you put all your trust in everybody that you meet. Some people are just going to be who they are, and it shouldn't go any further than that. And that's another thing. You never know how people change too. So even with discernment, if you knew the first time you met them, you were able to discern that this person was okay, you got to make sure that person is going to be the same 6 years or 7 years from now, because you never know if that person might be possessed. For example, it was a person who is a contactee. I listened to a video that she made years ago, and she's a contactee. And she talked about how this guy she was married to, she knew all of his ways, all of his patterns. All of a sudden he went outside and he came back in. It's almost like something took him away, like he was a shell, like he was empty. Something took over him. Right? So it's like, even if you meet the right, but that's something different though. Like, you never know down the line 10 years later if they're going to be possessed by something. So there's so much activity going on that your discernment can tell you at the time that they're okay. But then you got to make sure 10 years down the line it stays that way. Things change. And so now you got to see, you got to be able to really see in the future, which I don't really call the future because everything is happening at once in different timelines. But either way, people like to call it the future. I don't think everything is, I just go with how people talk. People call it the future. You have to be able to look into the future. A lot of people ain't got it like that. So it's really hard to vet. But at this point in time, it's important to have a level of discernment because, strong discernment, but then you have to have confidence in your discernment, but not only have confidence, don't worry about how somebody else feels, because a lot of people constantly worry about hurting somebody else's feelings. When discernment, a lot of people have it. Discernment already tell you that something is bad for you. You get a good gut feeling, so you get a strange feeling. Something is already telling you that something ain't right about this. But a lot of times people don't want to hurt nobody else's feelings and they go along with it. I don't like to shake folks' hands. And see, the thing is, oh, you hurt people's feelings. I was not mad during the lockdown in COVID, because during the lockdown in COVID, I was able to get away with not shaking people's hands. But because of COVID, people didn't shake each other's hands. I was so happy for that, because I don't like shaking hands. It's not because their hands are dirty. I'm not worried about hands being dirty. I don't like exchanging energy like that. I don't like exchanging energy. But see, some people get their feelings hurt, and that could be something, whatever's in that person could be something that could be purposely wanting to pass something over to me. But being worried about not hurting their feelings, when something taught me don't shake their hand, but then be so worried about their feelings that you be messed up for the next 2 years. So like, even when it comes to discernment and you know better, you got to not care about other people's feelings. You got to go along with your gut and don't worry about other people's feelings. Because being worried about other people's feelings can really get you hurt. But a lot of people already have discernment. They just continue to give people the benefit of the doubt and continue to stay around in situations where they already been told a while ago that something ain't right. Even if even to the physical eye, it seems all right, but something within you keeps telling you that something ain't right. A lot of people don't want to listen to that part of them, but a lot of people already have it. If people would give that part of them more energy, they probably would vet a lot more properly. But at the same time, even with that, you still need to know the future. Because that person, you can discern that there's nothing going on with that person, but you need to know the future. You need to know 10 years from now how they're going to be. People change. Okay? Now, this last thing I'm going to talk about is not going to be that long. This anti-abortion laws, if Trump gets back into office and he really pushes those anti-abortion laws, I don't have a what you call it, a dog in that fight, because I'm not active anyway. You know what I mean? I'm not active, right? I'm not active. So I don't really have a dog in that fight, but I'm going to tell you this. Because a lot of people have been putting this on women. Talking about, yeah, these women keep getting abortions, but I'm going to tell you about the black community. I feel like these anti-abortion laws, if Trump ever get in office, if he does get in office, I don't know how he's going to get in there, but if he's going to be the one that's going to be in office, and they really push these anti-abortion laws, I get the feeling that the femicide rate is going to rise. I get the feeling that the femicide rate is going to rise with anti-abortion, because a lot of these guys are not going to want to be put on child support. A lot of these guys are the ones that tell these women to get abortions. Okay? Just a lot of them. Even with celebrities. I've heard about male celebrities that have sex with these ladies. They tell, when these ladies get pregnant, they'll tell these ladies to go take care of it, and they give them the money to go take care of it. But see, now, if that anti-abortion, if that's going to be everywhere, all over, they're not going to be able to get an abortion. And for me, I feel like that could probably cause the femicide rate to go up. Because I have been hearing some stories over the last few years of a lot of brown ladies being unalived while they're pregnant, and they've been unalived by the guy who got them pregnant. And a lot of it is because these guys don't want the responsibility. They don't want to be put on child support. They don't want to have to deal with that. So a lot of these ladies end up being unalived. And I feel like with this anti-abortion laws, now some women choose to keep their babies when the guy says they don't want to keep it. They don't want no children. And sometimes these women are unalived because they choose to keep their child after this guy said he don't want it. You know, women got to stop dealing with these kind of guys and having sex, and specifically having unprotected sex. Oh, it's almost time to go with these kind of guys. But I got to go. I'm running out of time. But yeah, this can raise the femicide rate at this point. But that's it, and I'll talk later.